Well, thank you everybody for joining us this afternoon now. I was about to say good morning, but it's not. Um, I want to thank you all for taking time out of your busy day to just meet with us. Hopefully it won't take the full half hour, but I will stay on in case there's any questions. And I appreciate you all your interest in Nepa Gives. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. But before I do that, I do want to say if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to use either the Q&A or the chat. My colleagues here, Vivian and Dana, will be keeping an eye on those to see if there's any questions. And at certain points, because Vivian and Dana are so heavily involved in the day-to-day oversight of Nepa Gives, I might have them jump in on questions. So please feel free to let us know if you have anything that we can help answer. So go ahead and share my screen. All right, can you see that okay, Vivian? Okay, just want to make sure. All right, so we want to talk about how you can maximize your fund with Nepa Gives. So how can you potentially use Nepa Gives as an opportunity to grow the charitable mission of your fund with the Scranton Area Foundation? Quick agenda overview. We'll go through what Nepa Gives is. So if you're not already familiar, we'll help set the stage for that. We'll give you a recap of what happened in 2020, which was our first year of Nepa Gives. Prior to that, we had done an event called Nepa Match Day, but we really revamped that one-day giving event into Nepa Gives. Why this might be a great opportunity to potentially expose additional donors to your fund and the mission of what your fund's intention is. We'll go through how to create the profile, and we'll also do an opportunity for Q&A. So what is Nepa Gives? We've partnered with a company called GiveGab, who is a very well-known player in the online giving space. They actually originally started in Scranton. They've since moved their headquarters to Ithaca, but they have strong roots here in Scranton. We do Nepa Gives in partnership with the Nonprofit and Community Assistance Center and other community foundations in the region, including Luzerne, Carbon, Pike, and Wayne. It's a 24-hour online fundraising event. So it's uniting the community around local causes to promote a giving and growing culture of philanthropy. So it's about capitalizing on philanthropists, big and small, of all different means, and giving on a certain day to show the true, philanthropic heart of this region. And it is our largest day of philanthropy here in northeastern Pennsylvania. And GiveGab, as mentioned, it's modern. It's a very easy to use software. They have ways of helping to cultivate long-term giving options. And so they have a great support team. And so we're working with them quite diligently to make Nepa Gives as successful as possible. So as I mentioned, 2020 was the first year, and we were thrilled that in 24 hours, we had gifts totaling almost 4,200, and we were able to raise well over $500,000. And what does that mean? It means for every $100 an organization raised to fund it, it only costs the organization $1.20. So you talk about really leveraging. It's a very cost-effective way of doing fundraising. Organizations on average took home 98.8% of the intended donations. So yes, there are some fees involved because you do have credit card transactions online, but they get a large percentage of those donations. The average amount raised per organization was around $3,200. And then the average donors per organization was around 16, and with 7 of those being new donors to that organization. So 145 organizations received at least one new online donor. So as I mentioned, it's a really great opportunity to bring new donors to your cause. And I would say it's largely to what you're able to put into the event as far as marketing and sharing out the information about your fund and what you're fundraising for. So, giving days are becoming a very common thing throughout the country and even worldwide. Provide causes of all sizes and online presence, the tools to effectively engage new and existing supporters, energizing donors. I mean, you uh, can't say enough about how much this event, creates a level of energy and excitement around giving. There are options for matches, prizes. You can do peer-to-peer fundraising, which, if you're not familiar with the term, is basically often what you kind of see on Facebook, for instance, when somebody's like, I'm raising $500 for this cause, and they're working, they're sending it out through their networks and they're fundraising on behalf of your organization. And it really it's about giving regardless of your capacity to give. So if your gift is $5 or if your gift is $5,000, it's appreciated, and it all matters and will all make a difference. And because we do a lot of marketing around the event, and we're going to be doing kind of like variety show type telethon, there are opportunities to have individuals in our community learn about and engage around causes that are important to them, and some that they might not have heard of before. Um, so you may have already received from me a copy of the How to Add Your Fund to NEPA Gives. So what's different about you having a fund with us here at the foundation versus if you were, or if you're a nonprofit, you might already know this. Nonprofits that want to join would go into NEPA Gives and add their profile, and they have to pay a $25 registration fee to participate with NEPA Gives. um because you have a fund with SAF, you are able to bypass this part of the process. There would not be a $25 fee for you because you'd be under our heading. Unfortunately, the downside is I'm not able to give you access on the back end to be able to enter this information, but I'm going to share with you exactly what it is that I see, and then I'll work with you to collect the information that we need to make sure that your profile is up to date, and has all the information that you want to see. I'm happy to, if you want to send this information to me in an email, if you would like to schedule a one-on-one call, I'm happy to work with you in whatever capacity is going to make the most sense. So let's just go through some of the things that you're able to add into your profile to kind of maximize what donors are able to see on that day. And again, all of this information is what I would collect from you to add into the profile for you. And then you'll be able to preview it, take a look, and we can make any changes until you're happy with it. So a title, that's just the name of the fund. So for instance, I'm going to show you a couple of examples in a minute. We've added in the NEPA Animal Welfare Collaborative Fund, and I've also added in My Family Has a Small Fund at the foundation. I'll show you what My Family Fund will look like in there. Their tagline is part of the profile. It's just a brief one-sentence overview of your fund. Video link, this is certainly not required, but if you have something, a YouTube video or a Vimeo link that we can add, it's a nice opportunity to showcase. That is something that you can create, or if you already have some type of video that you've already used in the past for some other reason, you can have that added on there. It's an additional way to engage potential donors or people who might be interested in your fund. A cover photo. The cover photo helps illustrate the story behind your fund. Your cover photo should be like a larger horizontal image. Again, the pixels, we can work through that piece with you. It can't be larger than 5 megabytes, but again, we can work with you on this to make sure it looks clean, and is a high enough resolution for you to be able to clearly see it. Your story image, I often say this is kind of like your logo. It should be a more medium-sized horizontal image. Those are the pixels. It's the image that is shared on social media. So it really should, again, illustrate the story behind your fund. And this is a perfect place for a logo if your fund has one. If your fund doesn't have one, but you are interested in having one or creating one, also feel free to please let me know and we can see what we can do. We don't have capacity to make anything super fancy, but we do have the opportunity to create something that is a little stylized beyond just, you know, having your name listed. And I'll show you that example with my family fund that we created a very simple logo for that. There's the opportunity to tell your story, and this is kind of in a way the most important piece. This tells the donor, you know, why should they donate to your fund? Why should they be interested in what your fund does? It's, you know, it's telling the history, the goals you're trying to reach, current offerings, all of those. And then the thank you message. So this will actually show. So when somebody actually goes and makes a donation into your fund, they will receive this thank you message. And again, we can help to customize that so that we are properly thanking your donors and ensuring that there's a good level of stewardship, that they're happy, you know, and feel recognized for their contribution to you. Um, and Vivian, confirm, we were able to ensure that this was something that could be added, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Now you would have to add it, but yes.
Correct. All right. Just want to make sure we were checking on that. So you can add donation levels, you know, where, you know, people can easily click on a button that says 10 or 25, 50 or 100. Sometimes you can to edit those so that they actually have like a name around them. So for instance, you know, Sylvia, I know you're on the call from Lackawanna Pro Bono. Like if you wanted to say, you know, $100 will get this amount of services from a local attorney, or, you know, if you are able to quantify these amounts to be something that the donor can relate to, that's usually very helpful. Yep, unique descriptions. You can add photos and you can make as many levels as you think will be appropriate. Usually recommend 3 or 4 though. So this is a great example. I believe this is probably from Countryside Conservancy or a similar organization. They have different levels and images of what goes into those donations. As I mentioned, there's the peer-to-peer fundraising. So you can become a fundraiser, or your family or co-workers can be made fundraisers for your organization. It helps to expand the network of donors that you're going to be giving to. Each one of those fundraisers is able to set up their own personal goal of giving and their story about why this cause is important to them. So all of this can be added after your fund has been set up. So we would add, for instance, a first name, last name, and their email, and then we will compose an email that says, "Come create your own fundraising page to help us during Nepa Gives," and then they will be able to go in on that piece and make these edits. As I mentioned, unfortunately, you do not have access to do this part directly. I'm hoping in future years they do amend this so it is possible. But I am happy to be here for you and anybody else from the team here at SAF to help you build this profile out. One moment, I'm going to reshare my screen so you can see what the page looks like. Apologies, give me just 1 second. Okay. So this is what the main page looks like right now of our giving. It has the countdown for how long until the event takes place, information about what Nepa Gives is. We have our recent webinars are on here. There's a whole menu of selections, but let's start here. So I'm going to search for the funds that I've already added. So let's search for the Nepa Animal Welfare. And there it is. So even if a donor were to say search animal welfare, they would see that right on there. Probably end up wanting to redo the logo a little higher res, but it gives you an idea that, obviously, dogs are at the core of this venture. There is their logo. They have the different levels. $25 are cleaning supplies and sanitizer, monthly cost to care for one cat, and monthly cost to care for one dog, so that a donor would be able to click into these individual ones and make those donations. The story is listed here. We don't have a video at this point, but the video would also be listed in this area as well. To give you an example of back to Nepa Gives, I'll show you my family fund, so that you can kind of see what that looks like if you're have a family fund. So I have my family here. Believe it or not, this is not everybody. It looks like it probably should be, but there's actually more. The Walsh Nassar Family Fund, as I said, it's a very, it's a simple logo, but it's a little stylized, representing both the Irish and the Lebanese sides of my family. What our story is. I have not added giving levels yet, but it would just say donate here. Who we've given to in the past and why. So maybe it's helpful because people that are associated with my family, or other family members that you see here, might be interested in giving to this fund and raising money within that, or their family, their networks, might be interested in supporting our family fund. And so by representing them here, and then they would also be able to, as I mentioned, each add their own peer-to-peer fundraiser to do fundraising efforts there as well. So that's a quick overview. I have, as mentioned, also shared with all of you this PDF that once again goes through what can be added for your fund, and I'm happy to reshare this. But this again gives you everything that we would need to get your basic profile set up. Okay, well, with that being said, I'm looking to see, and it looks like there was one question from Erin that Vivian helped answer, which was, can fundraisers invite other people to become fundraisers too? And yes, absolutely. So you have the option to have unlimited number of fundraisers for your fund, and that's part of that peer-to-peer fundraising option. There are, I believe, also options in here that will allow you to learn about how to do the peer-to-peer fundraising. Vivian, if you can help point me in the right direction on that.
On the Nepa Gives page?
Yes.
Yeah, it would be in trainings.
Okay.
Or nonprofit toolkit.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then also the probably easiest way to start your peer-to-peer list is to email Maggie an Excel sheet, because she can then just upload it into your funds page to get started.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you come back up to the menu here under trainings, there are some training opportunities, and there is one here about peer-to-peer fundraising. So you can kind of learn more about that or anything else in here. Again, some of these are going to be a little bit more geared towards our nonprofits, because they have the ability to like go in and edit on their own profile. But a lot of this is the same for you. So you can go under the nonprofit frequently asked questions, or again under the toolkit or the trainings. So technically, in this case, you're almost being treated like as if you have your own nonprofit. It's just that you're going to be nestled under our page, which actually brings up another great point I'll share with you. So if we were to pull up Scranton Area Foundation's page, people can give to us directly. And there should be, yes. So under this, there's fundraising campaigns, and every fund that is participating will be listed here as well. So there is multiple opportunities for people to discover your fund. So if they just came to give to us, they might also have the opportunity to discover your fund and see what else what else we do and what other funds we support. Again, feel free if you have any questions to enter them either into the chat or into the Q&A. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. I know a common one, and we mentioned it before, but I'll just reiterate. You are eligible to win additional prizes that would be available to everyone. Those prizes are still being built out at this point, so we have not created the page yet on Nepa Gives. It will be there eventually so that you'll be able to see what incentives and prizes will be available from sponsors and other donors that you can, not that we use the word compete that often, but you can kind of friendly competition with other nonprofits to see if you're able to gain those. I know the Ritz Foundation, who has their fund with us, was able to win a prize one of the prizes last year, and it basically amplifies your donor your contributions rather. So you are eligible for those, but there are certain rules that go along with it, which is that they have to be raised on that day. So there is an opportunity to add in offline donations. So let's say if somebody who like absolutely insists on sending a check and not using the online portal on that day, we can add that towards your overall total of what you were able to raise for NEPA Gives. But unfortunately, due to some constraints on our end, wouldn't be able to count that towards the potential prizes or incentives, but it could help leverage what your overall dollars are for that time period. So Alan, great question. He asked, what is the deadline to get our info? The copy, the logo, all of that. Really, there's not necessarily a set date. Now I will say that the sooner you get it to us, the better, because that will give you more time to help promote that your fund is participating in NEPA Gives. What is the deadline right now, Vivian, for nonprofit registrations?
It's May 28th
May
because
28th.
GiveGab needs some time to make sure the back end is good to go live on June 5th because the website will continuously update. So
Yeah. June 4th. It was June 5th last year, but so you probably have that in your mind now. So yeah, so I would say we probably would advise that would be the same. I mean, we'll have a little bit of flexibility, but it's going to be hard to maximize if you're waiting until the end of May or even the first couple days in June right before for you to really maximize the potential. So, basically the answer is sooner rather than later, but anytime between now and end of May would be perfectly sufficient. Any other questions that I can help answer? Happy to do so. I hope that you're able to take advantage of this opportunity. As I said, we're waiving the $25 registration fee, so you would not be subject to that as our other nonprofits would. It's just kind of one of those nice benefits we're able to offer to our funds here at SAF. Okay. Well, without further questions, I am gonna, oh, wait, I'm sorry, Alan says, thanks. It's a wonderful opportunity. Well, Alan, thank you for participating with us today and for your questions. We're happy to have this opportunity for you all. We're hoping, we didn't mention, but our goals for 2021 would be to break the $1 million mark and we're hoping to have over 250 organizations participate throughout the region. We have a lot of different counties being represented. So we feel that it could be a very impactful day of giving for our entire region. With that, I'm going to stop the recording, but please, I will stay on for another few minutes if anybody has any additional questions or thoughts. I also encourage you to please email me. I think you all have my email, but it's just my first name, Maggie, at safdn.org. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have there. Otherwise, thanks, and I hope you all have a very wonderful day.